How are we doing, folks? This is just some modifications I've done to my Dave Cooper single motorbike trailer. I bought this a year or so ago, and I got it cheap because it had been run up a curb and damaged one of the in-suspension units, damaged the tyre, and a few other bits. But there's also a couple of mods which I've done. So this is the trailer in its broken down state, and I'll just stick another video in between this bit, because actually when I go to pick a bike up, I actually don't tow the trailer with no bike on. I actually tow the trailer only when the bike's on the back. When I go to pick the bike up, I normally break the trailer down and put it in the back of the car, and the reason is you're obviously restricted to 50 or 60 miles an hour, but if you're going on a fair old distance and it might be an overnight stay, you don't want to be leaving the trailer on the back of the car because someone might steal it. So it goes in the back. It takes about 15 minutes to put it back together, but there's just a couple of mods that I just want to show you on this trailer. It's not a design fault, it's just that people over tighten bolts and do quite a bit of damage, and this has been compromised, so I've had to just do a couple of mods on it to make it work. So let's have a look. So the axle beam is held with three M12s, and if you look what's happened here, because they've been, whether it was the damage when they ran over the curb or whatever they did, it's actually it's crushed the box section either by over tightening or by impact, and they're all the same. So obviously, if to overcome that, what I've done is I've cut a plate. Let's just spin this one over, and this is just a bit of M6 plate, and when you bolt it together, that goes right to the edge of the box section, so you're clamping on the wall and not on the face, so you don't get this damage. The other thing you could do, you could find some tubing with 12mm ID. You could just drill the bottom for the tube to fit in and just spot weld it, so it sits solid on the one face and it's just tacked on the other. Then it would make it impossible to crush. And the other is when they've fitted the mudguards, they've actually done the same again, and you probably catch that maybe, but they're all dinted inwards where they've been over tightened. So same again with this one, you might catch that one in the light a bit better, I don't know. So again, for those, just a plate that's as wide as the width of the box section, so when you pull it down, you're not crushing it. It's actually going to be resting on the edges of the wall, and the top side's okay because you're pulling on this flat flange on the underside, so that bit works. So just let me put a couple of bits together. So if I was going to build this up from scratch out the back of the car, the first job is I'd put the mudguards on. So just let me part. It only takes about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maximum to build this thing up. So I'll just switch you off while I just throw the mudguards on, then we'll go from there. Okay, this is it all in the boot. including the ramp, which is quite big. So it fits in quite nicely. That's how much sticks through. Obviously if you're in an estate car or somewhere the seat's folded down, then no problem, be a lot easier. So there we go, it does fit in quite nicely. Okay, that's the mudguards fitted. So pre the mudguards going on, the axle is actually ambidextrous. No bias, can go any way round. Once you bolt the mudguards on, it then becomes a front and back, or a left and a right. But there's the stiffening piece you can see to stop you crushing, or the washers and the bolts being pushed through from that side. And if you turn it over, it already has the plate on the top what it sits against. So the reason I put the mudguards on first is because it gives a flat platform for everything to sit down nice. So the next would be the indispension units, and here we go with the indispension units. So they're just going to sit on there, and obviously now they are going to be a left and a right because obviously the arms are trailing. So just let me throw those on and we'll come back. So there's our indispension units fitted, trailing to the back obviously to suit the mudguards, and it sits quite nicely upside down on the mudguards. And there, up to now all we've used is M8 bolts. So M8 bolts to hold the mudguards to the axle, M8 bolts and nuts to hold the indispension units onto the axle as well. So those M8s are 8.8 tensile strength, so which gives a torque figure of, according to my no-bar chart, between 20 and 22 foot-pounds. Torques if you're going to torque them up. Obviously don't over torque them. If you remember Young's modulus from Tech College about how easy it is to go beyond the yield point of a bolt and stretch it and damage it. So always stay inside the torque figure, don't go above it. So the next will be the wheels, so I'm just going to throw the wheels on, just be back in a second. Okay, the wheels are fitted. They're just standard 8-inch diameter, 4-inch PDC, pitch circle diameter, and they actually use mini, the old classic mini studs and nuts. So these are 3/8 UNF fine thread, and the head size of the nuts are 11/16. I know 11/16 AF. 17 will go on, but it's a bit slack. And there is a torque loading figure for them, which I got out the old mini, my old mini Haynes manual, because I used to have a classic mini a few years ago. And according to Mr. Haynes, they're 40 to 45 foot-pounds for 3/8 UNF, and they're a grade 8, so quite a hard, strong stud. So they're the wheels fitted, and now we'll just drop the axle. So still got it upside down because it sits nicely on the mudguards. So if you're on your own, bit of 2x4 will do it underneath. And the bolts are M12s. So just bolt through, put my load spreading plate on, So now I can really pull down on these. Not that you need to go any more than whatever the torque loading figure is, because obviously you are going to wine glass damage the bolts, which we don't want to do, or damage the box section as previous. So there we are. So the M12s are on, trailing to the back. That's the front obviously, and M12s are 19mm AF across the flats, and I have got a torque loading. Not that I normally bother, I normally just tighten up by feel, if you like. A lot tighter than that, but so I'm not going to pull these up to the torque loading figure, because I'm going to put this back in the shed in a moment, because I've finished with it for a time. So the M12s are also 8.8 tensile strength, and the torque loading figure is 70 to 75 foot-pounds. So easy to roll him over on his back now. Just bring him up, sit him on his wheels, and we're away. So the next is the rear section. So I'll just set myself up with the nuts, bolts, etc. So I'll be back in a second. So here we are, we're on the final leg, and again these are M12s, 12mm bolts. They are again 8.8 quality tensile strength. So we know the torque loading figure for these is the same as the ones that hold the axle on. So suitably armed with the correct spanner and socket, 19mm. Excuse me. And again, I'm not going to go berserk on these, because it's going back in the shed, or one of the sheds on the way. So that's the trailer in its entirety, but there's just another couple of mods I want to show you. So I'm just going to switch you off and we'll be back in a second. So here's the other one, which is the spare wheel. I bought a spare wheel for it. They're just, again, you know, the standard 4-inch PDC, 8-inch, whatever, available from any trailer shop. But I made, and there was a hole, there's a plate here and a hole drilled in it, so I assumed it was for the spare wheel. So I knocked up, had a bit of nylon, and I just knocked up this, turned up this shape, so that then fits in there, that then fits through there, and obviously you just bolt him up, and that's where the spare wheel would sit. So I would imagine, you know, maybe they just picked up on a stud, or I don't know, but anyway, that's nice and central, and I've cut it down so when it's pulled up, obviously it's got a nylock nut on it, you pull it into the tyre and it just becomes proud of the nylock, so when you roll the bike over, it rolls on easily, and the front wheel just sits in this section here. So just another couple of things while we're on the front end. Like I said, the original, I don't know what weight the indispension units were, but I've now put, these are 350 kilo units on here, so I've now got a plate on here that says, I know the unladen weight's 56 kilos, and I've put 350 kilo indispension units, so now I've got a gross vehicle weight GVW of, and what I've done, I've said 250 kilos, so I've given myself 40 odd kilos spare. But I mean, my Daytona is about 150 kilos. The bike I picked up the other day, the little the small XL is I think it's 97 kilos, so well inside. Anyway, I'm going to show you down before I show you these last couple of mods. Okay, here's the other mod. I've actually drilled a hole. Here's a padlock with an 8 or 9mm hasp. So drill a hole that will pass through just beyond the neck of where the toe ball would be, the throated down part. It actually comes into about there somewhere. So we can fire this. Yeah. So that now passes through there quite nicely, and you lock it and it doesn't impede anything, and there's no way that ball is going to come out of there with that padlock in there, unless you've got the key or a disc cutter or something. So the other last bit, this was with it, this safety thing or whatever. I know they should be fastened onto the toe bar, not the ball, but both of my toe balls on both vehicles are swan necked, and the swan necks are really long, so, and the swan neck obviously, you know, is it more secure? I don't know. So what I generally do, I've moved this to the bottom, and these have double nuts on here so that I've torqued them up and it's not going to crush the box section, and then I've lock nutted it behind, and then that just strangles on there. And in fact, you can always leave it on and you just slip it up to put the ball on and then drop it down and it's secured. But unfortunately, because the swan necks now, in fact on the EOS, the tow bar is right up behind the bumper bar, and there is no facility apart from strangling behind the ball to actually use the safety device. So it's a bit of a compromise, but there you go. So it should release if yes. So nearly there. last couple of mods. I'll just shut you down and we'll be back in a second. So here's the last mod. It actually does a couple of jobs. This is just a piece of angle iron which I've welded onto the edge there and sprayed a bit of cold galvanizing on there to stop it rusting. But it does two jobs. It helps with the lighting board, which we'll do in a second, but really it's for the loading ramp. So I don't know if these come with a loading ramp or whether it's an optional extra or whatever, I don't know. But a friend of mine kindly gave me this loading ramp because he got a new one, and a lightweight aluminium one. This is galvanised steel, but does the job for me. Folds it down quite nicely. Does two jobs as well. You keep the lighting board in there. So if I bring this out, so that's the ramp bit, loading ramp bit, but this bit here, this shape here, hooks in behind there. So just let me, voila. So that goes like that. Obviously attached to the car, otherwise it's all going to tip up. And it's a lovely ramp, and even the 150, 160 kilo Daytona, you know, straight on, no problem whatsoever. So I'm not sure how the lighting board would have fitted originally or whatever. I haven't got a clue. Don't even know if I've fitted this on the right way around, I don't know. But anyway, let's have a look at the lighting board. So it's just your bog standard from any trailer shop lighting board. Just let me unfurl it. And I always keep the securing bolts in it, and I know where they are, because the lighting board also fits the bike rack which clips on the tow bar, and also the other little trailer that we've got. So we just have one size fits all because we're lazy. So that is just exactly right for this just to slot in there. So it's supported underneath, stops it waggling back and two. But what we've done with the lighting board is I've turned up these are tough, and you could make it out of aluminium, plastic, nylon, whatever. So I've turned a big hole, I've drilled a big hole just in the front and just a 6mm at the back, M6 through there. So they go through there, so they lightly pinch the front here, but they bolt up solid on the back, because with this being hollow, similar to our axle, you know, you can end up just crushing the board, tightening them up. And the nylocks on there anyway, so the nylocks are not going to vibrate loose, he said, hopefully. So that is that. And even though the in suspension, those square section inside a square section with the 4 pieces of rubber, you know, they're really crude. I know they work and they're legal or whatever, but it's a very, very harsh ride, and you know, you need, this thing would break up if it was vibrating too much. So that works out really well. So there's the trailer. Oh, and I don't clip this up, all I do, I just pigtail it to the front. No clips, nothing. Comes apart easy, goes back together easy. And it is a cracking little trailer. A few mods make it work for me. And the 60 mile an hour makes it go 10 mile an hour faster,
I think apparently if you don't have the 60 sticker on, whether it's still like that now, this is a few years ago, we got pulled up. I was towing a boat doing about 65, and the motorcyclist police officer said, "Do you know what the speed limit is towing?" I said, "Yeah, it's 60. He said, "No, in your case it's 50 because you've not got a 60 sticker on it." So the 60 sticker in my mind makes it go 10 mile an hour faster. But anyway, I have no affiliation at all with Dave Cooper, whoever he is, trailers. But it's a cracking idea, the trailer. Fits into a car, winter storage, in your shed, out the weather, job done. So there we go, folks. I hope you got a bit of mileage out of that. And we will catch you on the next video. See you later, folks.